Yo, friends! Welcome to Creative X. My name is Brad Hussey. I'm a web designer. I'm also Canadian, so this is totally normal working conditions. Not even a little bit cold. Today, in the spirit of Christmas, we're going to be building something kind of fun. We're going to be using sound, we're going to be using Editor X, we're going to be doing a lot of cool things. So why don't we take this inside where it's just a little bit warmer and we'll get started. Okay, a little bit warmer inside. Let's show you what we're gonna be building and then let's just get started. Nice little animations at the beginning. We've got snow falling, we've got twinkling lights in the background, some nice Christmassy style typography, and here is where it gets cool. So we've got our sound cards here, and if I were to click on one, it'll play sounds. Very cool. Now what's awesome about this is, yes, it is responsive. Let's check that out. You can see it resizes perfectly between breakpoints and at different breakpoints. So this is awesome. It works great on your phone, tablet, desktop, whatever screen you're looking on. In Editor X, we're using a few cool elements. We have background videos, we've got some code. As you can see, this snow falling is actually some JavaScript code that we got courtesy of somebody who's already built this. I'll show you how to get that and how to embed it. Also, we're using repeaters, we're using some interactions to create hover effects, and we're using audio players, but we're hiding it in order to create what looks like a card that you can click to play an audio file, but you're actually interacting with an audio player that you just don't see. We'll see how that works, and I'll show you how it works in just a sec. Otherwise, it's a fairly straightforward site. There's not too much craziness happening here. So to make things easier for you, all the assets that I use in this project, I'm gonna share in the description below. Now we need to start a new fresh site. EditorX.new will start a fresh Editor X site for you. Let's go ahead and do that. Boom, here we are, fresh Editor X site. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to my libraries. Under assets, you can actually see all the libraries that you have access to. And I have that Christmas soundboard. I'm gonna apply the site styles to the site, and you can see that we have everything in here from the typography to the colors, footer, title, repeater, background image, background video, and so on and so forth. Now you can just drag these in and you're done, but that's no fun. We're gonna build this from scratch with a little bit of help from our assets here. All right, so we're gonna need some sounds for our soundboard. So I'm gonna show you a little clip of me recording these sounds for this project. So let's cue that. All right, first thing we gotta do is record some Christmas sounds. Let's start with ho, 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 ho. Merry Christmas. I got another one. Blue Christmas without you. All right, that's pretty good. What else? Mouth trumpets. I'm gonna black out on that one. Oh. Let's use that sound. I don't know what that sound is, but we're running out of sound ideas here. How about wind? We'll do like wind. These are good. These are great. This is gonna be the world's best soundboard. And those are just uploading now. Perfect. All right, so let's start off by adding that header with the snow falling, the background video, and the text. Let's go ahead and do that in this blank section in the inspector panel. We're gonna add a video background. You can use any video that you want or even just an image, but I have my Christmas video here that I created. And then what I'm gonna do is just make sure that that's coming in through. Okay, cool, yep. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm actually gonna make that height just something a little taller. So referencing the old site here, I'm gonna make this a nice, cool minimum height of 800 pixels. All right, and then what you can do with videos is that you can actually choose the focal point. Now right now it's in the center, but if you wanted to move it, you could actually do that. I'm gonna do somewhere just below the center. And now I'm gonna add a color, which is gonna be a gradient, and it's gonna be dark to green. Like black to green, and then I'm gonna just have a little bit of opacity here. At 0 degrees. It's gonna be like a like a blacky blue. And then our green from our site theme colors. And that green, we're gonna choose that dark green. So now we got a bit of a gradient here. And I'm just gonna make the video a little bit more opaque. It just gives a little bit of a green vibe to it with a little bit of a gradient. It darkens at the bottom where the text is gonna be. So let's add that text. Actually, from my assets, I'm just gonna drag that title right in here. There it is. We're gonna actually dock that to the bottom, but I'm gonna add some margin, because what I'm gonna do is I'm going to, as you can see in the end result, we're gonna have the text somewhere center-ish. Maybe I should just do that. And I'm gonna have the cards float up, kind of over top. It's in this section, but it's gonna come up and be covering a little bit of that header section. So let's do that. So let's actually just make this center. That looks fine to me. And I'm gonna make sure that that video, let's click the video. I want it to play in a loop, playback speed normal. Perfect, okay. So now we want that snowflake effect. So here's what's cool. It's just, you can just choose the code here and you could copy this, paste it in. So I have that. We're gonna copy this and I'm gonna go back to my site. I'm gonna embed an iframe right here, embed code. I'm gonna enter the code. I'm gonna select this, paste it in here. Make sure it's all within a script tag, actually. Don't forget to do that. There we go. And let's update, let's see if it's working. Perfect, so now you can see it's just kind of in this bounding box. So we want it to stretch and be the full stretched width of this section. But I'm going to, in my layers, drag the iframe in under the stack, which is our text, so that the text is selectable. We wanna be able to do that. So let's preview this right now. I mean, it's already looking magical, Christmassy magical. Next thing we've got to do is we got to add another section, and we're going to put a repeater for those sound cards. So let's add a new section. It's going to be blank. And I'm fine with that background color. It's our gray, kind of snowy, drifting snow kind of tone. Now we're going to add a repeater. So under my layout tools, I'm going to go to repeaters, and it's just going to be this repeater right here. Do some alignment. We want 3 items per row, and we want a total of 6 items. So I'm just gonna add a couple more items here. Perfect. Now, this is where we gotta play around. Let's change the color and the style of one item in the repeater, and just watch what happens. Change one item, the style of one item in a repeater, all the others follow suit. So this is gonna save us a ton of time. We could have 100 repeater items and we just need to be styling one and it will update all of them. So this is gonna save us a ton of time. Make sure you're selecting the repeater, and I'm gonna make this like 80%, so it's kind of contained. And then what I'm gonna do is I wanna give some space in between each of these repeater items. Let's do gaps of like 32 pixels, 32 pixels. Now, I want to round the corners. So let's select an item and I wanna go corners. Let's round it like 20 pixels all around. That's looking nice. All right, we're in our media. We're gonna check out our audio players here. And let's choose this one right here. And let's see if we can modify it. Attach it to an item. All right, so I want to change the layout. And I only want the icon. Perfect. And we're gonna design this. It doesn't really matter what design you choose here. I want something that's square. Now, you can choose a literal square or something like this. Honestly, it doesn't really matter. I'm just gonna choose that. I'm gonna customize the design. And let's choose colors. The play button, I'll just choose this green. You're not gonna see these when we're done with it, by the way. For now, just design it. And let's make the background color just the green that we're using. Okay, so we got something like this. The hover, just for the sake of doing this, we're just gonna change that. We'll do some alignment now, center, center. Okay, and we want the width to fill out the entire repeater so that we can click on the repeater anywhere and it will play. Because this whole thing is effectively gonna be a play button, but we're going to hide the play button visual because we want the card to be the play button. All right, so let's make the width of this 100%. Okay, so that fills it out, but the problem is it takes away our rounded corners. I don't want that, so maybe I'm gonna change the design and I'm gonna choose, let's choose this rounded corner one. Customize the design, again, that's fine. Now we can make the icon opacity nothing, which is what we're ultimately gonna end up doing, but we wanna see it for now. Okay, so now we'll make that 100%, see if that is any better. It is, perfect. So because of our rounded corner icon, it doesn't change our rounded corners in the repeater container itself. All right, so now let's just see what happens. We've got 6 play buttons and it's just playing music. And we're gonna change that. So what I'm gonna do is actually go through each of these and I'm going to change the audio for each of these players. So we can select on the audio player and we can change the track, upload a track, and in my site files I have all of these sounds that I pre-recorded. So let's just go ahead and add some. All right, so we're gonna select this audio player, the design, customize it, and we're gonna make the opacity 0. Now, for some reason it's not changing, not sure why, it was just working for me a few moments ago. So my other way around that is I'm just gonna change the color of the play button icon to just the color of the actual card. So now you can't see it. So it's still there, you just cannot see it. All right, now let's test that. Now you can see it on hover, okay. Now I'm actually gonna on hover change the color as well. So let's do that. On hover, the color will be that green. No, it's actually gonna be red because we're gonna make on hover, the cards turn red. So it's gonna turn red to match. So you still can't see it, but it'll still be interactable. You can interact with it and it will play the audio. So now in our item, let's start adding our icons. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna add different 3D illustrations with some text that just explains what is in the sound itself, the card itself. Feel free to do whatever you want here, but I'm just gonna go ahead and do this. All right, so I got those Christmas icons that I got from the wannnathis.1 resources in the description below. I'm just gonna upload a whole bunch of them. Let's go ahead and pick some icons here. I'm gonna go with Santa Claus with a snowball. Add to page. Now I'm gonna take the Santa Claus and I'm gonna add it to the repeater here. Attach it to this first one. See how it adds to all of them? Very fun. Let's make some changes here. I want the width to be 25%, and I want him to be center top. And what I'm gonna do is now add some text. So let's just add some text, and it's just gonna be like a heading 3, and just make it say something like, ho, ho, ho. I want the width of this text element to be 80%. Center that up, all right? So now I'm gonna take the image and the text and I'm gonna stack them. Change up the space in between. And then I'm gonna take the stack and center. All right, now I want that image to actually be bigger than that. It doesn't seem like enough. Let's make it like 50%. That works. And I want a little more space in the stack. We've got room here in the card. Let's do that and make it 20 pixels. Cool. So now what I'm gonna do is just check in my layers, and here we have our item. We've got the stack and the audio player. What I think is gonna be a problem is with the stack on top of the audio player, that's not gonna be clickable. So let's test that. See, it's not working, but any open area like here, I can click the audio player. And you can see it in the background. But I want it to be in front. So basically, I'm gonna take the audio player and I'm just gonna drag it in the layers panel above the stack. So now it's in front. Obviously, we don't want to see that. So I'm gonna select the audio player and we're gonna make it like that you can't see it. So under the adjust, when you click on the audio player, under adjust in the inspector panel, you can actually change the opacity here to 0. And it will hide the play button and the pause button of the audio player, but it will still be there on top of the element. So now the whole thing is a play button. Cool. So now what I want to do is individually go through, change the icons and the text of each of these. I can see the final result here, and I'm going to go ahead and try and match this up, and we'll make that happen. Time-lapse time. All right, so now actually pause the time lapse. I just changed the image, but something weird is happening to this icon. So there's actually a new Editor X feature that will fix this for you. It's a very, very smart feature. So I'm gonna select the image, and in the settings of the image, you can actually change the display mode. Right now, in default is fill the bounding box. So the bounding box is that 40% or 50%, whatever it is I set for that image on the first repeater item. But I wanted to not fill the bounding box, I want it to fit better. So I'm actually gonna fit to bounding box. And so now that image will fit to the bounding box. So if the image is a different size, ratio, it's fine. We'll just make it fit to the bounding box rather than fill it. All right, back to time-lapse mode. All right, so now check these out. We got each of these. Perfect, but we don't see any interactive element. So when I'm hovering over this, I don't see that I'm hovering over it. I want some sort of indication that I'm interacting with that element. So I'm gonna do it with interactions. I'm gonna select just any of the repeater items because it will do it to all of them, and choose interactions. I'm gonna add a trigger on hover. I'm gonna affect this element. We're going to apply an effect, and we're gonna create a custom effect. And I'm just gonna say hover. Call it whatever you want. Now I'm in design mode. I'm just gonna change the background to our red. And then I want something like a little bit of a, I don't know, a little bit of a rotate and grow. Just a subtle interaction here. Scale it. We're gonna scale it to 102%, 102%. And we're going to rotate it 1 degree. So super subtle. And I want the whole animation to be 0.1 seconds. So super quick. All right, let's check it out. Nice. That's more like it. So now, what we want is to make sure that it is, well, aligned properly here and responsive, because I don't imagine it's perfectly responsive just yet. So I'm gonna give this section some padding on the bottom. No, let's actually select the repeater element itself, and I want to bring it up. I want it to be up and kind of slightly overlaying the header section here. So let's do that. We're gonna say margin top -6%. Just so it's a percentage, it's relative, so that as we change the viewport size, it will kind of be relative as well. Rather than a hard pixel width or pixel measurement, we want it to be kind of relative. You know, it grows, it changes, you know, it stays relative to the size of the viewport. All right. So that's looking pretty good. I want some space here from the bottom, so let's add some bottom margin here. Let's do like 5%. There we go. Now what I want to do actually is make this more responsive. So if I were to go down in size, you can see obviously this is kind of breaking in a hurry. You know, that's really bad. So let's start with our desktop viewport here. And I'm gonna set all the texts to scale text. So I'm gonna choose, because the audio player is in front, I'm trying to select the text, the audio player is in front. So I'm gonna go to my layers and go to a stack. I'm gonna click on the H3 here, edit that text, and we're gonna scale the text. And we can just do what's set, 10 to 50. I don't know, maybe that's fine. Let's see what it looks like. Yeah, I mean, that looks awesome. It kind of fixed it perfectly. All right, so now what I want to do actually is on tablet view, I want the height of this to be not as tall, and I want the sound cards to be higher. So let's select the header section here. And I want the minimum height to be like 500 pixels. And let's take our repeater and let's bring it up more than 6%. Let's bring it up like 10%. Negative 10% rather. Even more, let's go hard. 20, negative 20. Hey. Okay, maybe a bit much. We'll go 15. Negative 15. I'm feeling good about that decision. Perfect. So now we want to change this. I don't want a minimum height on the section. So I'm actually going to go to the desktop, select the section itself, and I want no minimum height. I'm going to delete it on desktop because that means because of the cascade, it's going to affect all the breakpoints. So I don't want to have to go to tablet, delete the minimum height, go to mobile, delete the minimum height. Just do it on desktop and it will cascade down and just wipe them all out. Beauts, look at that. Now it fits better. Okay, go down to our mobile. Okay, so now this is starting to look a little bit strange. So what I want to do here is I want to make the gaps smaller and I want it to be a 2-column row in the repeater. So number of items per row, 2, and I want less space in between. Let's half that up. 16 pixels, 16 pixels. Delish. That's looking pretty good. Now I want the minimum height on this header section to be smaller still on mobile view. Let's go 320. And that's looking pretty good. Final touch here, we need to make sure that our footer looks good. And straight up in our assets, the library I shared with you, we have a footer that's just done for you. I'm just gonna drag it in here, delete the previous one, and there it is. Let's preview our masterpiece. Okay, that's looking good. All right, this is awesome. Fully responsive. Nice, there it is. Now what I want to do actually is one final thing. On load, I want this repeater to kind of animate in all together using something like turn in. You can choose whatever you want. You can fold in. Fold in's kind of cool. Let's turn in. Preview that one more time. Ah, there it is. Merry Christmas, right? All right, friends, thanks for tuning in and hanging out with me, building some cool stuff. If you like this and you want more of it, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and join the Creative X crew. It's just do it. Just do it before I freeze. Okay. Merry Christmas. Bye-bye.